How did you do it? How'd you go from 116,000 to 3 billion in transaction to owning two today? You know, I never came from money. My parents didn't have money. And so I didn't know anybody that had money. So that was a problem. But secondly, you know, when you manage properties for other people, you're also taking a look at the way they put the deals together. You're looking at the way they structured their partnerships. And then I was meeting just regular people. Like these were just normal people like doctors or lawyers or CPAs and business owners that would come visit the property and they would go, yeah, I just invested in this. I just wanted to check it out. And all of a sudden you start to realize that there's just one person sitting in the middle of all that that knew all these people and kind of put that whole deal together, both on the debt and the equity. And then they turn it over to a guy like me and they want it to perform. So once I started to realize that all I needed was just a different circle of influence, I needed to be in those circles. And you start to realize that you can be in those circles because those folks are working hard. Maybe they're dentists, maybe they're doctors, you know, maybe they're CPAs, maybe they're lawyers, maybe they're business owners. I can assure you they're all working very hard and they don't have time to invest in real estate because they're doing their thing. However, what I realize is they don't want all their money sitting in a stock market, let's say. So what they're always doing is looking for people just like me or just like you, smart people that understand what they're doing to invest alongside of, to be able to buy real estate that cash flows to create passive income for them. Because at some point, they are also going to retire and they want to have that passive income coming in as well. For me, there was no aha moment. I never measured my success on money ever. I always measured it on passive income. Like I was always trying to replace my monthly burn rate, which way back was like $5,000 a month, which seems like a lot of money at the time. Now it's not so much thanks to our inflation rate, but that's another story. But the truth is, I just was trying to buy real estate. I was afraid of the stock market because I didn't understand it. I was putting money in the stock market as well as probably a lot of you. But I would get those quarterly statements and I was like, I don't even know why it went up or went down. I have no idea. And then you get the standard line from the wealth manager, financial planner, or whoever that didn't know either. So I was like, oh, there has to be a better way to be able to put my money to work somehow, create passive income. And then I realized not only was I getting that, but I was getting all this massive tax advantages. I did not realize the tax advantages could offset some of the things I was doing in other areas. And so I started to pay less and less tax. So really what was happening is I was working and doing other things, but I was paying less tax, so I was able to keep more. In other words, if I wouldn't have done anything with real estate at all, I would have paid more tax. So I ended up actually not really making a lot more, but paying less tax. So therefore, I had higher savings as a result of paying less tax legally. Because the government rewards people to invest in real estate in the form of depreciation and other things. But they basically are not very good at providing housing. It's like the government sucks at housing. Like just take a look at all the projects, you know. The government is not a very good landlord. So they rely on the private sector to do all that. And so for that, they give you big tax advantages. That's fun because once I started to realize that, which was not my strategy in the beginning, I also realized that there are thousands of people that have that exact same scenario. So that's what happened when I met Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, is they had a tax problem. So I thought, oh, I'm being so smart and raising all this money, you know, not from them, but from all these other people, to be able to buy deals and, you know, progress forward with my own business plan for my company. But what I didn't realize is what they really wanted was to be able to offset some of their taxable income, because that's what real estate really does for people that are in these bigger tax brackets. There were so many things that I realized, you know, like what happens is I believe every corner, you know, especially when you're your late 20s, you start to be cocky, you have a little bit of an ego, and then 30s, it just gets worse. Well, so when I met Robert and Kim, I started to go speak with them. Of course, they'd never been on stage before, so they asked me to come to one of their events. And I went in the room, there's like 400 people sitting there, all trying to learn about real estate, investing and stuff. And I actually realized, because you could see it in one room, Like there's a lot of need here. There's a lot of people that really could use this knowledge. And back then, this is pre-internet, that, he would pack a room and they would all show up and he was trying to teach people, all based on, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and of course before that. So I went on stage with him and he's like, tell him everything you're working on. And he walked off stage. So I was standing in front of 400 people. It's the first time I ever spoke in public. And I realized, well, I was scared to death, first of all, but I realized I completely messed it up, I'm sure. But I walked off stage maybe 10 minutes later. Kim ran up and saved me because Robert has a great way of letting people sink or swim, and I'm grateful actually for that opportunity. And she came over, saved me. I went to lunch right after that. And there was like 50 people that came up to me and just were peppering me, wanted my card, wanted me information, because I realized that they were all investors or potential investors. So I was like, wow, this is a great way to raise capital, go to these events and speak and also teach. And if I'm lucky enough, maybe I'll get a couple of them to take a look at some of my projects. So that's why I started writing the books and started teaching and started touring around with Rich Dad.